Good morning, it's 10 to 6 and it's Monday morning, and as usual I'm up quite early, as I have been since October, which I've video blogged about before. Now, my thoughts this morning, after an awful night last night, I did blog last night, I'm still feeling angry. So no, it wasn't the 2 glasses of wine that I had, which I could tell you, some of you could probably tell I'd had a little drinky, but so what, I think I deserved it. I spent that last £3 that I had because Gokhan, despite being asked 3 times, had not brought any cash over for me. Yes, he had offered to transfer money, but unfortunately the man doesn't listen. I have told him on a number of occasions I hadn't got any bank cards to actually take the money out. So, as it was a weekend, obviously I've been sat here without any money because all my benefits have been stopped and they've all gone over to him. Now, because we're in that grey area of the children are safe because they're in Gokhan's care, I'm afraid nobody's actually treating it with any urgency. I know that as I mentioned yesterday, that the care plan is not a legal document. I know that. He doesn't. And he's not been at all helpful. I've not seen my children now for weeks. Because I was wrongfully sectioned. Post-traumatic stress disorder, just want to remind you, caused by the police for their treatment of me. Twice detained. First offence, detained for 7 hours despite being claustrophobic and anxious. Mistreated at the hands of the police. I believe I became more and more mistreated because I was simply standing up for my rights. I get this at every turn. 9 hours at Leamington Spa police station. I've just found out that my silver cuff bracelet has gone missing, worth £200. I was wearing it on the night of my arrest. Probably won't be on the paperwork. I know I had it on. So, Sergeant at Leamington Spa police station, I'm going to be coming in with some photographs of this very beautiful piece of jewellery that I commissioned my good friend Tess Hall for. Means the world to me. Highly unique, very heavy, so as soon as you spot it, you know it's worth money. So I've every reason to be angry. So, I found out today who the head of Warwickshire Children's Services is. It's Marion Davis, and I intend to go straight to the top. This is a request to Marion Davis, who says, I intend to enable children, young people and families to be influential in the shape of new services. Well, that was a statement made back in 2005. I don't know if she's still the head of children's services in Warwickshire, but I intend to go straight to the top because I am tired of having to go with a begging bowl to Gokhan, the man who I had many issues with during our marriage, who was the reason why, one of the main reasons, in fact, because of his inability to listen and hear hear what I was saying and meet my needs, which has continued on. There's a little bit of theatre that goes on to look as though he's helping. Helped with the mortgage, which probably wasn't very much at all. He's paying some money, but he's got the money because he's got all the benefits. And as always, the usual things that he'll get involved with where he directly benefits. When it doesn't directly benefit him, he tends not to be that interested. So I've been sat here all weekend with less than £3. Now, as I said yesterday, I would never have allowed him to suffer in that manner. So I had to go out in the cold, the wind, wherever, try and find somewhere that would accept contactless payment because it was the only card that I'd got. So thank you for the support, Gokhan, who is already, as I mentioned yesterday, whining that I'm focused on something. How dare I not see my children? Well, because we're on my time, actually, Gokhan. Yes, you were in Birmingham on Thursday. And yes, I was busy, very focused on what I was doing. As I said yesterday, it would not have stopped you putting some money through the door. But manipulation in all its forms, what was it you said? You could have seen the girls on Thursday. You could have had your money, but you were busy smoking and drinking on the internet. Well, isn't it a shame? I actually thought you were quite interesting, Gokhan, the night we met because you were drinking and something else you were doing that you know about. But, oh, God, after we married, God, did you get boring. That was the trouble, you see. Reduced myself. reduce myself and who I was. So a bit like when you have a coming out party, when you're freed from oppression, there is a kind of a big, blah, I'm here. I've had years of being reduced, and I'm very much looking forward to having a divorce, and I'm saying that I need the support of Warwickshire Social Services. Obviously, Birmingham Social Services now are no longer involved. It was a strategic decision that I made to put the children with Gokhan in his care for a number of reasons. One being that I wanted to get Birmingham off our backs because they're a failing local authority, have been for 8 years, and I knew that they would... they wouldn't have the funding to remain involved if the children were not in the Birmingham area. So I did it for protection for the whole family, really. But in the care plan that was written, by the way, I think less than 2 hours she'd spent in my company, and she actually came with it all typed up and ready before she'd even spoke to my children, me or Gokhan, that said I had absolved myself of all parenting responsibility, and it had a spelling error talking about my psychiatric experiences when it was psychic experiences. So obviously Freudian slip there from the social worker, 26-year-old, no children of her own. I've got a lot of reasons to be annoyed, so I intend today to make some phone calls and get this sorted out once and for all. I want to be having regular contact with my daughters. I want to have a mediator so that I don't have to deal with my ex-husband. And I want that care plan ripped right up, and I will be requesting all my information under the Freedom of Information Act to make sure it's all correct, because I will not have my name slandered. I've been accused of slandering already with the post yesterday. Mr. Brad, as I'll say, I'll tell everyone what I said. You can't get blood out of a stone. I'm afraid in future, anyone who tries to manipulate me, be unkind, kick me when I'm down, I'm afraid it's going to be exposed. So I can see that you don't like it, but I'm afraid it's not slander because I can back it up. It ain't bragging if you can back it up. You were very, very nasty indeed to me yesterday, at a time when I was feeling very vulnerable, very alone, and I won't tolerate it. It will not be tolerated anymore. If you can't support me, don't look down on me unless you're helping me up, is all I would say. So, yeah, it's just to say that despite the strength that I've come out with today, last night I was weeping for missing my daughters and with frustration at not having any money, and frustration at Gokhan in his very subtle ways using the children to manipulate me, which I absolutely will not tolerate. So today is the day it's going to get sorted. I will speak to Marion Davis, and I am going to be emailing Professor Sue White and asking for a consultation with Philip Hay. She's going to be my link, because I'm going to come in force with all the people that have suffered, that I've met on my journey at the hands of Birmingham Children's Services. And Marion Davis, if you're true to your personal statement, you intend to enable children, young people and families to be influential. Well, I would like to influence your services and teach you that while other cases come in and are a priority, there's women like me sitting around feeling desperate because they're not seeing the children that they birthed and raised single-handedly for 6 years. They are great children, and that's mainly down to me, I have to say. Their grandparents have been instrumental in it. Gokhan's had a little tinker at it when he was around, but mostly me. They're great kids. They never miss school. At the time when all this kicked off, they were attaining very well, thank you very much, educationally. No absences at school, dressed well, fed well. Lovely children. Anybody who'd actually met them told me that, but no, nobody really wanted to meet my children, did they? They just wanted to get me out of the way quickly and make their minds up without doing a proper assessment. Well, I'm afraid that isn't going to be good enough for me. These are my children, our children,